Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Transpicuous Views. It is September 20th. There's some crazy shit going on in the world this month. Let me tell you. Weather-wise, financial-wise, governmental-wise, you name it. We're not going to get into that because that would be a long meandering monologue of mine. So we're just going to leave that alone. Tonight, we're going to talk about a specific topic. Probably one of the most misunderstood topics. One of the most confusing topics for a lot of people. And something that, in this crew, here, all the unfuckers, you guys all know about this. What you may not realize is that out there in the real world, out there in that world, is probably one of the most unknown topics of everything that's going on right now that is major, major, major. This is a topic that the vast majority of the average public don't have a clue about. Don't even know the existence of it. A lot of people. Tonight, we are going to be talking about cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and a lot of other cryptocurrencies. And we're going to talk about blockchain, which is the technology that all of these cryptocurrencies are kind of built upon. And I've asked a good buddy of mine, one of the people who I know is extremely knowledgeable in this area because he has his fingers in every pie there could possibly be when it comes to this stuff, and who I trust to give us a really good breakdown of all of this. And that's Jeff Gates. Jeff, you want to turn on your camera, come join me? Hello, darling.
Hello.
And he's wearing his Bitcoin t-shirt. I like it.
I couldn't find my Unfuckers t-shirt, but
actually, I've got my hand-painted Unfuckers t-shirt, right? The one that I painted for a show that I did, I don't know, 2 years ago. I actually wore that out in public this morning by accident, really. I didn't even think, you reach into the drawer with black t-shirt and I pulled it on, and I'm like rushing to get out the door because I had to really go really fast to go get something done. And my youngest daughter goes, "Are you sure you want to wear that in public?" And I was like, "Oh, crap. Quick, hand me a jacket." It's like, just not the type of thing that we really wear in Malta around here. The Catholics get upset. So, darling, where do you want to start this conversation? Do we want to start on the end of the cryptocurrencies and work towards the blockchain? Or do we want to reverse that completely? Where do you want to start off?
I would like to frame it specifically to the unfuckers.
Yeah.
So how I would do that is the intent of this blockchain and crypto space. What is it and why is it misunderstood? So what out of all the your guys' shows over the years, in 2014, Brian Kelly presented the audience with Mark Korsky's Engines of Domination video.
Yeah.
And it was a really clean 50-minute synopsis of how institutions or middlemen coerce, get agreements of entrapment, make humans do things that are not beneficial to the human reality. And that really framed to me what the intent of Bitcoin and the blockchains were going after. So shed what you've heard about Bitcoin the last 7 years, or read, or that it's some piece of static currency and that's all it is. Let's rewind to Satoshi Nakamoto's very first white paper, Intent. And the intent of it is to replace all of these institutions. And a clear, clean example to set this off is Bitcoin has been copied thousands of times. And a lot of people don't understand that yet.
No.
Right. So before we get into all that layer, you want to pull up one of those copies is OMG coin.
Okay. You want me to pull that up? The real one or the fake one?
Let's go with the real one at first.
Okay.
But then we'll go into the fraud.
Okay. Yep, here we go. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got the right one open before I open it up. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is the website for OMG. You can give a little explanation of what OMG is, Jeff.
So let's just look at that first bold statement. Unbank the bank. Look at that intent. This is what unfuckers do. They unfuck the world by getting people out of institutions. So right off the bat, you're like, that's pretty cool. The second sentence in that big paragraph is designed to enable financial inclusion and disrupt existing institutions.
Says unfucker all over it.
I mean, if you can't see that and align with it, are you an unfucker? So that should set the stage on what this crypto space is a bunch of companies trying to undo all of the institutions that are killing us, as Catherine Austin Fitts said. So I just wanted to set that stage that, Bitcoin's labeled the currency and wealth storage and all of that stuff, but there's a whole nother thing going on. And that original intent to displace or disrupt the existing financial system is really what we're looking at and trying to support. So if you look at, over the years being in the audience, watching OPPT, Kerry Campbell's Credit Exchange, the Dragon Prosperity Fund, Swiss Indo, Nasara, the Dinar, the
Dinar.
But none of them are at the stage. There's stages. We'll talk about those.
Yeah.
They just haven't hit the manifestation stage, in my opinion, that I know of, where this Bitcoin blockchain thing, I mean, it's on Yahoo News. It's actually manifesting. Now, why didn't the others? I don't know. But this one is manifesting. And if you pay attention and support the original intent of it, not the copies and the frauds, because that's just going to happen. This could be a stepping stone for the collective out of this Draco institution stuff. Now,
well, hold on. One thing I want to address here, and this is something you and I have talked about, and I've talked about it before. There's a lot of people who have had an instant reaction of distrust. And one of the things I've heard said, and I've lost count of how many times I've heard this, is, oh, well, I don't want to use this. I don't want to be involved in this because it's just another fiat currency. It's just another empty, it has no value, et cetera, et cetera. So, and of course, you know, are they playing with the feds? Are they involved with the Federal Reserve? You got the FBI and the agencies, et cetera, et cetera. And the one thing I remind everyone when we look at it from that aspect is we're already using fiat currency, which is tied to the feds, which is tied to the Federal Reserve, which is tied to the agencies, which is tied to the governments. It's completely manipulated. We use it to pay our rent. We use it to buy gas, to buy food, to do whatever it is that we have to do, because that's the reality we live in right now.
Transfer large blocks.
Monitor the usage. Yeah, exactly. The transfers of large blocks of it. Yeah. We already are doing this. So to deny even looking at a subject, i.e. like Bitcoin, like cryptocurrencies, because perhaps, maybe, sort of, kind of, it could be, it's closing off something. It's closing off an opportunity. And I like the fact that you're coming at this, and this discussion is coming at directly aimed at the unfuckers. The people who are out here, the people who are proudly call themselves, I am an unfucker, because I'm going to do what I have to do to unfuck the system, or unfuck this whole mess. So I want everyone to look at this information tonight as an observer. As an observer. Observe it. Yep.
Just think about the fact that.
Talk to them.
Shit. All right. So also, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, have your feelings about it, whether it's owned by the Federal Reserve, who controls it, who cares? There's thousands of them. So, and God, man, how many times have I spoken to people now and they're making money doing it? Man. So there's other, like the one that Jeff just showed you guys, that was the OMG one, that has that massively awesome statement at the beginning. There's ones out there that are kind of in line with the thinking. So yeah.
Yep. So yes, observers, everyone, I just want you to sit back and see this as from the unfucker point of view. That's where I want us to sit as we're going through this information.
Yep. So I would just add, we're in a collective majority or collective consciousness or whatnot, however you want to frame that. And most of the majority doesn't even see the financial system as dying. They're living in that normalcy bias. So the majority's reality can't and won't just skip to an Ubuntu exchange of value reality. You can't hop steps. They still need to learn the lesson that there's something wrong, and the majority needs to come to the conclusion we need to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't toss this stepping stone of technology. And just because we've learned the lesson doesn't mean that when we enter the current financial system or monetary game, whatever you want to call it, that we don't have to follow its rules, because clearly they can change the rules anytime, and it's a lot of effort to beat their rules. I mean, I just saw Sean David Morton got 8 years in the Fed for creating his Superman papers.
Really?
His wife got 4 years.
Wow.
Melissa, which, I mean, that guy is smart. I don't know if he's Heather smart, but that guy is smart. So the Bitcoin crypto creation is outside of it. Yes, we have to exchange our fiat dollars, but but it is outside of it. And there are concerns with Bitcoin right now as it moves and weaves and grows, and there are some hands in it that are concerning, but it has died 152 times now, but it's still here. So there's another hand at play. And as Nick said, it's been copied sometimes for fraud purposes, but mostly for the good intent, the good ideas, the crafty humans. So that's something to pay attention to.
Jeff, do me a favor. Give us a brief timeline of Bitcoin. And I mean really brief. Like, was launched in 2009. We've seen stuff go, and we've seen the ups and downs of it. What I want, not so much as a timeline of Bitcoin, is when we started seeing all these the new coins utilizing that blockchain. When did that really start happening? Was it immediately?
No, it took a little while. I believe it was 2011 when I started buying some of the copies, like Litecoin, Peercoin, things like that. Most of them have gone to nothing. I mean, even Dogecoin, it's not even 1/100th of a penny right now. But I'm a billionaire Dogecoin holder. I think $1,000 or whatever. So what really took off is when Ethereum came online a few years ago. So Bitcoin, in its original intent as a currency, some crafty human came up with a better idea and created Ethereum, which is a platform. So consider Ethereum as you've loaded Mac OS or Windows 7 on a computer with a data. And now any company in the world can put their app on top of that, like OMG Coin, Veritasium, there's others that we'll get into, that have a purpose to get us out of institutions. But really in the last 3 years, maybe 4, it's just been this explosion of, we had a very slow uptake on awareness. I got into it because I wanted to buy Cliff High's WebBot report, and it was literally 2.5 weeks to get a Bitcoin because I had to send it to Japan, wire it to Japan, and the whole Mt. Gox debacle. We'll get into that. So even though we're 9 years into this, we can talk about the stages of adoption.
Yes.
The maverick stage is less than 1% of the global population. Then we grow to about 1.5%, 2%, maybe close to 3%. The innovator stage. I can't really tell if we're mostly maverick or innovator because all these new cryptos are coming. That's kind of innovation, but that's still less than 3% of the global population. And
they even know about it.
Right. And that means it's hard, it's tough, it's a battle, but it's manifesting. Your JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon had to address it. Oh, it's fraud. But then 12 hours later was busted buying it in Europe.
Yeah, the last little
I
while,
laughed my ass off over that.
Yeah.
I haven't had on that, but later, so I don't stop your train.
But all my sleepy Silicon Valley techie nerd stock market guys, started instant message me like, holy shit, Bitcoin is legit. Just because their guru, Jamie Dimon, acknowledged it.
Yep.
They're like, Jack, you're right. I'm like, oh,
No shit. I've been right for years.
Hey, it's a gamble. I don't know where this is going to go, but my reality is aligned with that original intent to replace this Draco institution bullshit.
Yeah.
That's my reality. I want to work with people that want to support and grow that reality. I do pay attention to the scary details of this and the Richard Branson getting involved and just some other crazy stuff. Be aware, but we're still at this maverick innovator stage. And those people that are getting in early have the possibility to support that. And to me, the side effect is the wealth effect. Because as we see fiat dollars are, I mean, what Captain Austin Fitz said, a dollar is really only has less than a cent buying power today.
Yep.
On that last little bit. So as we're exchanging those almost valueless for the new system, as the masses start doing it, you just have that side effect of wealth gain. That's not my focus. My focus is to support unbanked people, uninsurance company people, unlegal people, politics. I mean, it just can go everywhere.
Well, I want to pause for just a quick second. So I want to talk about the blockchain.
Can I just?
Okay.
Yep. Hold on. Yes, Nick.
I would just like to put those 2 cents in for supporting that, because in the last little while, there's been a bunch of things that have happened with Bitcoin. And the one that you referred to, the Jamie Dimon, the flapping, talking head, but then also China made a release saying they were going to crack down on creation of these cryptocurrencies. And when they said that, Bitcoin fell. Then maybe a week later, they said they actually turned around and one of their exchanges it closed. When they said they were going to do it, Bitcoin fell. When they started to do it, Bitcoin didn't. It started to get stronger again. And the stuff that I was reading was saying it is because people are realizing what things like Bitcoin are actually for. It is technically a peer-to-peer system. Now, the great thing about Bitcoin, while it's based on nothing, but then again, so is a fiat dollar, the great thing about it is that it doesn't have a huge amount of debt attached to it yet. So that's one of the cool things about cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, it's not a debt-based system.
Or a debt instrument.
Right. Let's see.
And I have that video clip for you too, Jeff. So whenever you want me to play that video clip, you just let me know and I can put that on.
Yeah. So let's just drill into that intent. It's not based on debt. So the intent is to have everything transparent.
Yep.
The software code is open source. Anybody can read it. Now, that's why one of my data sources is Cliff High, because he's a coder. And if you know Cliff High's story, Microsoft calls him to unfuck their systems when all of their thousands of employees can't figure something out. So when he sees into code and he gives a green light, red light, I pay attention. So I know people like him are watching this open source code. Can I read it? No. But I do pay attention to the people that do. And there's hundreds of thousands of people watching this open source code for fraud.
Yep.
The transactions are transparent. If I send money to you, anybody could know that. That's a scary thing to some people. But that's the purpose of it. I won't really go into that.
The whole thing is if we look at, let's just pause here for a second at the transparency of it. So one of the things that we're seeing is governments around the world are going to blockchain. I mean, they're rushing to blockchain. I was talking to Jeff earlier today, and I was laughing because I can remember back, it was like late 2014, early 2015. Well, the talking heads of government were like, Bitcoin's a no-no. Oh, it's terrible. And Russia was trying to ban it and all the rest of it. Governments all over the world were scrambling to hire blockchain experts. I mean, and it was insane. Like, you could go into like in a matter of 2 or 3 months, there was 6 European nations, and I know France, Switzerland, and Italy and Germany were 4 of them. I can't remember the other 2. They were all hiring major blockchain people. So this is the same government trying to tell you that, oh, no, it's all crap, and yet they're scrambling. Now we have the announcement that came out this summer, and it came out of Russia, who's been one of the hardest people, or groups, shall we say, countries, corporations, to say, no Bitcoin in our country, no. And then they go and announce, oh, they're going to release their own cryptocurrency, and that every government worldwide is doing the same thing.
Right.
Now, so take that to transparency. If we're talking about transparency, one of the things that we all hate is the government in transparency. It's like a black hole of seeing nothing. So what we're seeing now, Malta, the Maltese government just announced this week that they're putting together a whole blockchain department who's going to be looking at how to utilize blockchain within the government. This could be the step that forces governments to be transparent.
Right. Right now, though, we're at a little phase where Bitcoin has gotten way too much exposure.
Yep.
It got too valuable. So they started slamming news to try and get it down. And this is the last gasp in my perception that they're going to try and roll out Russia coin, India coin, Fed coin. The problem with that is all of those goes against the original intent of Bitcoin of being transparent. So what they'll do is they'll roll out their blockchains that nobody can see into. You have to trust that when you send money to pay off a loan or whatever, that they're going to tell you, yes, we got it, and it did pay it off. You can't see it. So that's going to be a red flag, number one. Number two is it's going to be their blockchain, meaning they can change the blockchain anytime they want because it's not open source.
Good, thank you, because that makes things very, very clear.
Yep. So let's see. So the fraud aspect is what everybody's watching for. Blockchains that are not transparent and not decentralized. So in the Bitcoin world, in the OMG world, Ethereum, all the good guys, you as a person have a copy of that blockchain on your computer. There's millions of copies of it. So the blockchain itself, everybody has a copy, and let's go into, that can be hacked. Okay, if you try and hack into a blockchain, because I'm sending money to you, that transaction is encrypted. Yes, it's transparent, but it's encrypted. So a hacker would have to hack the encryption of me sending it to you, and then they would have to hack you getting it. Yeah. A blockchain's just a big ledger of transactions. You don't hack into it like Experian and see everything.
No.
Or be able to change everything. Sorry, you can't change everything. You can hack into a transaction with 256 bit encryption, but then you have to go to that second and third, and it's endless. That's why the blockchain has never been hacked. And even if it can, I mean, there's so many steps to be able to change a value of something, because you have to hack every single sequential transaction. Does that make sense?
Yep. No. And the one thing I was told is the fact of also is if something is hacked, it is automatically seen.
Yes.
It's instantaneously seen.
Yep.
And as you said, there are hundreds of thousands of people watching and analyzing every single piece.
No, your Bitcoin wallet will all of a sudden flash, hey, there's been a block that's in contagion or whatever that little warning is. So it just, the blockchain itself is analyzing itself like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And eventually, so many people see that transaction gets thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
As if it didn't happen. So the blockchain itself isn't like Experian where somebody can hack in and see everything. We all can see everything as it is. They're just trying to hack into it conceptually to change it, but you can't change it. So that's the beauty of what blockchain is.
Yeah.
Now, to continue with JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, that Blythe Masters being spent $200 million copying Bitcoin to launch JP Morgan's JPM coin. They put it out to the public and it failed. I mean, it was dead on arrival because everybody knew they had built all the back doors, or, I mean, there's so much speculation that whatever they presented, so the self-policing of the community is just so vibrant. I mean, you go in chat rooms and people are bitching and moaning about, well, this code does that. And I mean, on Reddit, there's thousands of, yeah, this is crap. The self-policing is awesome.
So here's the thing, though. We always talk about the 1%, and we always say, oh, the 1%, as in the guys at the top of the pyramid who control the banks, who control all the wealth. But we're now looking at an opposite 1%. Now, the opposite 1% that we always usually talk about is, of course, the people who are aware. The unfuckers, the people who see what's going on, who get at some level, some stage of awareness, the fraud within the system, the complete bullshit of the governments, of all of these things. And what it seems to me is, I'd have to say, a major proportion of the people who are involved in the blockchain, involved in the Bitcoin, who are the people who are talking, who are watching, etc., are very awake and aware. They already, at some level, I mean, it may be very compartmentalized. Maybe they only see it as far as just the banking aspect of it. But they are people who are already aware of the fraud. They are in the 1% of the people who are getting it. So that makes an awesome police force. Because you don't have a lot of people in there who are maybe watching it who don't comprehend just the fuckery that goes on with JP Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon and his ilk. They're already expecting it. So when this coin was released, like you say, dead in the water, because I guarantee you probably 95% of the people who are involved in this community are all like, oh, right, like we're going to believe you. Forget it.
That's like what you were saying about Ripple. Because that's like in the top 5. I think it's number 4 as the most popular coin. And it has so much market capitalization to go with it and so much action on a day-to-day basis. And what did you say about Ripple?
So Ripple is the central banker's coin.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're throwing billions at it to get it into the market share. And, you know, if Cliff White is right, it's going to fail just so amazingly. It'll be breathtaking. And that's what we want.
Yep.
Ripple is centralized. We can't see the transactions, and we can't see the software that it is.
Well, that's the
Even
that's why it's number 4, but it's only 18 cents for the coin.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, there are some fuckery going on. I mean, you know, on Facebook, how Bush and the Pope and all these guys have bruises right here.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on there, alien implants, being part of the rituals, something's going on there. Well, Richard Branson has a picture of the bruise too. And Richard Branson in 2014 got all the Bitcoin coders to his island alone, and only the male coders. So that raised eyebrows. Like, okay, if that's Pedophilia Island as a possibility, what did Branson film the boys doing? And is that why there's some questions about where Bitcoin's going? So there's a caution there. But as Nick says, Bitcoin has been copied so many times. I'm minorly invested in Bitcoin at this point because I see all the business opportunities after it.
Yeah.
And Cliff and Catherine and Joseph P. Farrell and all those guys think Bitcoin's going to be around forever. That's great. But I'm a bit cautious on that Bitcoin, the particular coin.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. This is the thing. I did some work on this back in 2013. And there was an interview, and I will actually post it. I did a thing on Bitcoin a few months ago. And my sole point of Bitcoin was to say, don't think that Bitcoin is this all savior meme type thing. There's a lot more to it. Use it, but use it knowing that it's a tool, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things I showed in that video was a clip, and it was from 2013. And it's one of the it's actually earlier than that, I think. And one of the Bitcoin heads of coding, like one of the head guys up in Bitcoin, in an interview saying they are working with the Federal Reserve. Mm-hmm. And that was when he was like, whoa, there we go, alarm bells right there. They're working with the feds.
But unfortunately, it had to have happened in order for it to be compatible with fiat currency.
And could very well be. My point being, though, is what Jeff is saying. When it comes to the Bitcoin itself, as that singular currency, I have my cautions. But this isn't a monopoly. There is all to choose from. And there's some really interesting, really, really interesting other currencies out there that have, even if we talk about, to use the analogy, we talk about co-opting. Right? We talk about how someone can go and try their best. They've got the best of intentions. They're going to bring this out, and then it gets co-opted by the bad guys, taken over. But what often happens is that from those co-optings, you see break-offs. And you see people coming together organically and doing amazing things. There's a value to it. So for me, even if Bitcoin has been co-opted, even if it is, that one coin, what has come from it has been massive. And from what I can see, it is a deluge. It is a tidal wave. And my quintessential they can't stop that. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not like, well, if you're going to get into cryptocurrencies, you only have one to choose from. Get into Bitcoin and that's it. If anything, I'd say given the price of Bitcoin, that bus has already gone by. That's my opinion. Like, why would you invest $4,000 in one Bitcoin when there's a lot more else to look at?
Yep. And so in this little phase where the countries and the Fed and all these guys are going to roll out their coins, I kind of, I feel that they're really going to attack Bitcoin hard. I don't think it won't work, but this is what they'll try and do. So their bank accounts, if you're banking with them, you'll be forced to use their currency on their blockchain. They'll do something like Uber or New York taxis. They'll require you to use their crypto. Like in the Robot TV show, which we have a clip, they'll offer huge discounts on Macs or computers at Best Buy if you use their crypto. And people will do it. All new loans, IRS tax refunds. I mean, they're going to get crafty. I don't think it'll work. Universal
payments?
Yeah.
I've said this as soon as they started talking about the universal subsidies, payments type thing, it'll be done as a cryptocurrency. It'll be done as a digital thing, and then it'll lean into that. Well, if you want this, if you want to keep getting your monthly check, then you got to do this way, and it'll be used as leverage against families, against people.
Yep.
Not for them.
The government's ego is just unbelievable. I mean, even look back at email. The post office was the tried and true, trusted delivery of mail. When email came out, they were like, okay, we're going to be the source and ability for everybody to get their email. And they did all these kiosks. Do you remember e.com?
Yeah.
Where you'd have to go down and put in your social security number and get your email address. It failed in 6 months. Nobody trusts the government.
Nope.
They're gonna try. They're gonna try. So it's something to look out and be aware of.
Yep.
Be aware of FedCoin and Ripple and Goldman Sachs coin, and it's just going to be a phase.
Well, there's going to be some different ones. Now, a couple of things, because actually when I was pulling my graphics up, when I was making our little graphic for today's show, I would go into like Google Images, and I was pulling up images of Bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, etc. And you start seeing images of like the golden dinar cryptocurrency. And I was like, oh, well, here it goes. Here it goes. And one of the articles I pulled up today, what is it talking about? Cryptocurrency, blockchain, and gold. It was like, well, you knew they were going to, they're going to try and tie certain pieces together, because it's like, if they can't stop the technology, they're going to try and at least fake it. Try and intertwine somehow that to their favor, however they feel they can do it.
So we're watching for this. What they're going to try and do is they'll do a gold or silver backed crypto. The question Jim Willey and Catherine Austin Fitts and all these data points are, okay, where is the actual gold kept? Who is the custodian and who is the inspector? Those three questions the answers will all be fails, because it's the same guys that are printing the money. When a gold-backed or silver-backed crypto that is person to person, I have a piece of silver, you want it. When that crypto comes out that exchanges it person to person, Cliff High and those guys say that is the one that's going to change the world. So that's what we're waiting for.
Interesting.
Person to person. There's no storing it, accepting that it's stored, accepting that it's
Here's
there.
My piece of paper. Look here. I'll give you. Here's this futures or this piece of paper that says that maybe you own it. Yeah.
Right. Nope.
Which is how it all works. That's pretty much gold exchanged now anyway. It doesn't have nothing to do with physical. So they're going to, the recreation of that aspect as a cryptocurrency, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's one of the ones to watch for, because that'll bankrupt the COMEX and the LBMA and the whole Ponzi scheme. So it hasn't popped up. I mean, people are watching every day, and I know there's got to be somebody working on it, but it hasn't popped up. So,
Guaranteed. Although I have to wonder about what China's doing. You and I talked about it just briefly a couple of weeks ago with their digitalizing assets. Could this be China's attempt to try and do this? And we've got the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and China is the largest producer of gold in the world, and they don't sell it to anyone.
China is an interesting piece of news lately. Either Bitcoin's got out of hand for them and they're going to try and roll out their China coin first, or they do have a sincere effort to clean up their exchanges, because exchanges are so fraudulent. It's just they never have the Bitcoin that they say they do. People are getting robbed. Their accounts are getting robbed. It's the wild, wild west right now. So when I go on to these exchanges, I put my fiat dollars in, I get the Bitcoin, I trade it, and I immediately get it off.
And we'll get into that, because I want to discuss that aspect of when we get down to the nuts and bolts of the how-tos, because this is an important one. Now I'm gonna do a little screen share, and I mentioned right at the very beginning when we talked about the OMG. So earlier today, Jeff and Nick and I are chatting. We're talking about a few bits and pieces to do a Tonight Show, and Jeff says, "Oh yeah, we'll just go to OMG," and he typed it in, and your eyes glance. If you glance at it, like the name of the thing, and you go, "Okay," and I started typing it in, and the first thing that came up is, hold on, I have to move that for a second. First thing came up with, hold on, let me go to the desktop. So this is the one we showed you. This is the legitimate OMG site, okay? Now, I typed it in off by one little piece. One little piece. And this is the site that we came to. Mm-hmm. It's a knockoff site. It is virtually identical. If it wasn't for the fact that Jeff is reading me the sentences on the front page, and I'm going, wait a second, that's not what mine says. And I pulled up the screenshot, and he went, oh, that's not the right site. That's a copycat. So just to give you an idea, they are everywhere. So, same thing. We were talking about wallets. And the same type of thing, where all of a sudden one wallet got brought up. And a wallet is where you store your cryptocurrency, so to speak, literally. And the one that we mentioned to Jeff was like, no, that's fraud. No, it's fake. It's just going to eat your currency. There is a lot out there. Now, the thing you said about China maybe cleaning themselves up, what is the number one country in the world for copying and ripping off every copyright and everything? They copy everything in China. So you can guarantee that if all this is going on out here, I bet you in China, it's probably gone insane with knockoff cryptocurrency, knockoff Bitcoins, knockoff anything. You can guarantee it. So I'm not all that surprised to see China clamping down on some of this stuff, because I can imagine it's real wild, wild west out that way.
Yeah, and the stock market has initial stock offering, but our cryptos have initial coin offering, and China had 60 plus coin offerings that were so fake. It was just, how could a person even send them Bitcoin? these little startup companies. It's crazy. The scams, on Facebook.
Nigerian prince thing to a whole new level.
Right. On Facebook, I had a couple glasses of wine one night, and I decided to post how to, not be a Bitcoin fucko and lose your Bitcoin. And I was stunned at the sleepers of the community. Like, yeah, I got in a year ago. I had no idea I was being unsafe. And it was just amazing how many people had been scammed and made the mistakes, because it's not easy right now. It's early adopter phase at the best. But if you're supporting change in our reality, the wealth effect that comes along with that could be pretty amazing.
Yeah. And what comes along with the wealth effect?
One story too, right? About what was his name? The guy you knew that lived down in Florida that was Robin's friend.
Oh yeah. Good.
And his story about the hotel manager and the $100.
Yep.
And that's how you make a healthy system.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story?
I can possibly do it.
Go ahead, sketch it.
I'm going to sketch this story in. There's a good buddy of mine down in Florida who told me this, and he said, gives you an example of how economy should work. He says, there's a hotel, and a guy walks into the little hotel and says, I want to rent a room. And the guy says, okay, it's $100 a night. He says, okay, well, I want to see, can I go up and see the room? And the guy says, yep. He says, but you got to pay in advance, then you can go up and pick up what room you want. So the guy gives the hotel owner the $100, and he goes off up to the top to go check out the room. Now, the hotel owner owes the guy who supplies him with beer $100. So he takes that $100 and runs it around the corner to the bar and gives them the $100 he owes them to the bar. And the guy at the bar owes a couple of hookers $100, and so he runs it over to them and gives them the $100 to pay them off. And the hookers owe the hotel manager $100 because they've been using his services for free, so they take the $100 and they give it to the hotel manager. And then the guy comes downstairs and says, you know what, I don't really like the rooms after all. I'd like my $100 back. And the hotel guy goes, okay, here you go. Here's your $100 back. And now, how many debts were just paid off with $100 that went right away, bing, 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 and it never existed in the first place? The guy took his $100 back and left. And yet, the barkeep, the hookers, everyone was all happy. Everyone got all paid off their debts with an imaginary piece of money that never actually existed.
Yep.
I love that story, personally.
Yes. This is a stepping stone to that. As I said, the collective reality isn't ready for that.
No.
So this is just a transitionary stage, in my opinion, but a necessary one that's actually manifesting so you can play a part in it. So I guess I could go to the ones that we're watching. So there's Bitcoin, which seems to be being developed to do large amounts. Like countries will change big Bitcoin amounts. So
it's a gateway too, isn't it, Jeff?
It is the gateway to the other cryptos under it, yes. So it's being built that a transaction will take $5 to $10. Now, if the transaction fee is $5 to $10, you can't buy a cup of coffee, right? Because it would be $10 for a cup of coffee. So Bitcoin was copied into Litecoin. So consider Bitcoin gold and Litecoin silver. Litecoin's purpose is to have like penny transaction fees and so fast that it's like buy a cup of coffee, ding, it's paid for. Litecoin just like silver, it's so undervalued right now. Everybody's thinking, what is it, 40, 50 bucks right now? It should go up to $600-700 each once the early adopter phase really starts getting rolling. So if you want to dive into Litecoin, the potential of wealth increasing is amazing. Monero, Dash, and Zcash have copied Bitcoin and made it so that it is truly anonymous. Now, Zcash is so great, you're seeing parts of Zcash go into the other crypto source codes. So even, and we'll get to this, Ethereum is borrowing pieces of software from good ideas from other cryptos. So that's why I kind of at the beginning said, whatever you've heard over the past 7 years, just leave it at the door, because yes, the core of it is still there, but it has changed, and it's changing and growing, and the wins and losses and all that stuff is happening every day. It's almost breathtaking to keep a handle on. So you have those currencies, Bitcoin, Monero, Dash, Zcash. Those are all really good investments. I'm not a financial advisor, but those are interesting. Then you have Ethereum, Neo, Nem, and EOS, which are all platforms.
Yes, you got to explain the difference, because that was something I was not aware of.
Rather than being a currency, it's more like a stock market.
Okay, so Ethereum, Neo is China, their copy of Ethereum. Nem and EOS, they're all platforms in that they created the platform in the blockchain for everybody, any company, to just come in and use it. So Ethereum is what everybody's watching, because there's some really good companies that have already put their apps on it. One is Veritasium. That's Reggie Middleton. He's a big stock guy. He's just so authentic, and his integrity is just unbelievable. He's actually in Jamaica this week. He is converting the Jamaican stock exchange onto Veritasium or Ethereum blockchain. And it's set to go live either end of this week or next.
Really?
Imagine an entire stock exchange that in our US stock exchange, I think I've seen numbers that if one Microsoft share can actually be 100.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because Scottrade is a pool. I mean, there's all these pools. They're not actually writing you the stock and sending it. It's just so ludicrous on what the stock exchange is, and we know it's manipulated, and it's just so much fraud. Jamaica is going to be the first one that goes live on a truth machine blockchain. And Veritasium right now is at $100, but it seems like it is just going to go to the moon once people understand that it's going to replace the New York Stock Exchange. The ability for it to change our whole financial system is amazing. So Veritasium is one.
Veritasium is one that's transparent,
Yep.
right? Where you can see. So therefore, if within that Jamaican Stock Exchange, when it goes live, those trades will be able to be unfucked with.
Yep.
Because if anyone hacks in or is fucking with the code, it's instantly going to be seen. Unlike the New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. And there's none of this high frequency trading crazy. I mean, there's so much fun, right? ADX is a company with a token that your YouTube, Twitter, Facebook hits, we have no idea how many real YouTube hits you get.
No.
If you're monetized, I mean, you're just taking their word, and as we know, the whole YouTube community is up in arms about the fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So the AdX token, if you post a video, will actually tell you who viewed your video for how long in a truth machine. It already signed up with video.
Really?
And the other, I mean, everybody sees that by peer pressure, YouTube and Twitter is going to have to sign with AdX. So that's one to watch.
Oh, that's going to be interesting, because I mean that's kind of one of those twists, and that's one of the parts I want to get into later on is the fact of this isn't just about currency. Mm-mm. Currency, as we call it. People think cryptocurrency, they think blockchain as only dealing with that, and it doesn't. So this, for example, this is an amazing thing, because anyone who's had any dealings with Google. So, for example, I have Google AdSense on my old RTS site. And it was a joke when I watched my numbers go from 25,000 hits a day, and they would drop in increments of 5,000. Always. And it would go from 25,000 to 20,000 to 15 to 10 to 5. And then it started, once it hit like 5,000, it was like it would go to drop in increments of like 500. And it wasn't just me. This was across the board, and it was all within those people who were all, all of us writing content like I did on removing the shackles. And same thing with the YouTube. You'd watch a video come out, and a video would come out, and it would get 45,000 hits, and we would watch the numbers disappear. Like, people can't unwatch something. You can't click on it and then unwatch it. So I had at one point a major interview that I did, I can't even remember which one it was, and it was within 2 days at 45,000 hits. And I took screenshots of the numbers going down. It went from 45 to 37 to 32 to like 22 in a matter of 12 hours. Wait. So if you're talking about the use of this technology, this blockchain, looking at on the personal level of us little guys, so to speak, we're looking at a major change where now companies like Google, like YouTube, like Facebook, et cetera, if they're forced in this way, they will not be able to do this bullshit anymore.
That's if YouTube even lasts, because DTube, which is a blockchain,
that's the one I'm going to be looking into.
Yeah, that's going to replace it, in my opinion. But so another one is Pillar, which right now we give everything to Equifax, and they rate us, and they get hacked clearly
all the time.
Pillar's concept is you have your information. It almost seems like the powers that be, or the good guys, somebody hacked Equifax to make sure our social security number becomes invalid, because this new blockchain technology may let you reinvent yourself under a new way, not the social security number, but a new way. And Pillar's concept is you own that. And if you go to a doctor, you open that little wallet enough for them to identify you, but that's it. And anything that they want to add to your health history goes right back into your wallet. They have no history. So, I mean, that goes to, Pillar is just something to watch. Propy is a real estate based one in that, and I think one transaction just went live yesterday, in that the buyer of a piece of property had the cash, converted it to Bitcoin. The escrow was 3.8 minutes. It recorded the title at the county title office. It did the whole transaction. And because the seller didn't really want Bitcoin because the IRS rules are weird and it was a big sum, he did convert it right back into cash just because it needed to be a like for like amount. But it just showed just the real estate industry is going to be upturned on its ass. It's an institution that steals a lot of our money for every transaction. There's things like Salt coin, which if you have a Bitcoin, you can give it to them to hold, and if it goes up in value, you get that gain. But if they're holding your Bitcoin, they will loan you fiat cash. The benefit of that is you can spend your cash and not do a capital gains by selling your Bitcoin right now. Is that
interesting? No, I see. That's interesting.
Because right now,
you still hold it. You still hold it. You still hold the asset. So therefore, you haven't made a profit off the sale of an asset.
Right.
Interesting.
So right now, you know, people invested in this are, you know, you can convert your Bitcoin to a Visa card and spend Bitcoin anywhere on this planet. But when you do that, if you bought it at 100 and now it's 4,000, now you have capital gains on that, and everybody's like, I'll wait for the laws to change. We're starting to see the government float bills like anything under $600 will not be susceptible to a capital gains. That's great.
Let's make a statement. What is capital gains percentage? Do you know?
I know short term is 10% under a year, I think. I haven't looked into it because honestly, I'm a buy and hold. Because I just
put away under your mattress.
I haven't needed to spend it yet. I just keep investing into companies that I think add value to universe. That's just me right now, but I have friends buying Teslas and all that other stuff, and I have no idea if they're telling the IRS that they're doing this shit.
I wouldn't, but that's just me. I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah. So I'm just making the point that Bitcoin is way bigger than everybody thinks. Under this cryptocurrency blockchain concept are all these little companies that are doing amazing things. For every one amazing company, there's probably 5 frauds. So we'll get a little bit back into security. If I trade fiat for a Bitcoin or Litecoin, I get it off the exchange and I put it in a paper wallet. I don't trust hardware wallets, computer wallets. It's just too immature of an industry or a whatever. I know too many people that have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by clicking on the wrong sites, wrong links, showing their passwords. I mean, this camera is on all the time.
Yep.
And they've got their passwords on their desk and somebody's watching. And
you said that someone's lost because the password to their paper wallet, the password to the paper, like literally like a physical, it's written down. It's not even on the computer, and they had their phone out, iPhone or whatever it was. It's always on, always recording everything. Oh, look, and they lost it because it was monitored. Someone saw it, and guess what? Now they have your password, and that's it. So security is serious.
Yep. So security, this whole in this arena, we have this acronym FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And just on the alternative news sites, before it news, whatever, it is stunning that the bad guys have double flipped, and now they're getting the uninformed believing that Bitcoin is the new world order, one world currency coin, and they're taking credit for it. I don't see that myself, but it's just a great ploy to get people to go, oh no, don't invest in humanity. Wait for the list of other saviors that are coming down.
Well, you also see an attachment right now too, because when you say the word Bitcoin, you think cryptocurrency, but when you also say the word cryptocurrency, you think Bitcoin. You don't think all the other ones. There's the attachment to the actual Bitcoin itself, when people don't realize that there are so many other options to get into it if you were willing to play with it.
Well, it's like all disposable diapers are called Pampers, all baby cereals called Pablum, all tissues are called Kleenex, and all cryptocurrency is called Bitcoin, because it's been given a branding. The brand name is stuck, so people don't get beyond that sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, the other real big argument out there in the space is this AI quantum FUD.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if AI is so powerful, how come every time I log into Yahoo Mail, I have to click the little button, prove you're not a robot? Really? Or click the traffic sign.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Wow, this is fucking Lee Lou. It's just so crazy. Or Facebook, who's supposed to be the CIA, AI, augmented reality, crazy quantum computing behind them. And I'm getting Facebook friended by naked hot girls every hour. I'm like, really, Facebook? Naked hot girl? Yeah. No. So this, going back to the quantum, that Jordy Rose video that you did Transpicuous News on, and he's standing in front of the D-Wave computer, and he's
yeah.
The famous quote, "We're zealots who are building machines that can exploit other worlds." Exploit other worlds in parallel universes. Okay. So to me, Jordy is breaking universal lore right there. He's exploiting, so therefore, he himself will experience being exploited. I don't think they have any idea what they're doing. And, you know, at what cost are these guys going to have to pay for exploiting? You know, I'm listening to Catherine and Jim Willie and all these guys, and some of them have hired or have quantum physics friends. And you can YouTube Jim Willie's last video or podcast, and he says it right on air, that quantum computing isn't built to hack crypto. It is built for something else, just like I think nuclear power is actually for something else. We just have some byproducts. Or CERN, we're told it's for something, but it's really for something else. So this whole quantum thing, you know, even Anthony Patch, oh my God, they've replicated the human brain and they've copied our reality. Well, to me, there's more brain material in the belly brain than in the head. So Anthony's like, that the brain, the mental capacity, the headspace is where it's at, where I know better. My heart and my belly brain, my intuition, the whole thing that makes me human is way more powerful than just this processor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fear porn going on around. And I see through it. I just don't think I don't see any way that they can actually hack and destroy Bitcoin, because they've tried. The only thing they can do, the only thing they could do is spread more fear about it, and perhaps do a false flag using Bitcoin raises terrorist funds or something. I mean, even Chris Dwayne is kind of twitchy about that. The silver guy is like, I think that's what's coming. So that's why Bitcoin's on the radar. Everybody thinks that's the one and only crypto, but hopefully I painted a picture that it's much, much more than that.
Ultimately, money is just a tool, right?
Yep.
Now, evil is what people make of it.
Mm-hmm.
We use money because it's a very convenient tool, but it's also a very easy one to manipulate and to manipulate with. In my opinion, a healthy country, any country that has money in the pockets of its people. The average person that's walking around the street can go to the butcher and get a loaf of bread with no problems. Then that butcher can go home and he can spend money with the baker, or he can spend money, and keep the system healthy, that money that's infused within the system. In the case of what we're seeing with fiat currencies right now in countries, they're looking at more and more ways to take that money right out of circulation, to suck as much of it as possible. The good thing about cryptocurrency networks is that they are peer-to-peer. So it's almost like trading, or back to, like the days of the Hudson's Bay Company, when you take 2 beaver pelts when you want 10 pounds of salt.
This is interesting in the piece of the intent. I want to go back to that, because this is really important, and I want to bring this around to this piece again. When our intent is to change this bullshit, our intent is to move beyond, to get rid of, we've talked about it for years, make it transparent. We want to see transparency. Well, we're starting to see some of that now. We're talking about how we keep talking about how we want to take down the system. We want this system to go away. For me, the intent is a very big one. And that's what you started off at the very beginning of this discussion. There is no positive intent in fiat currency. The dollar, the euro, the yen, the ruble, it doesn't matter. There is no positive intent. We have to use it. We still have to use it. We have to use it to pay rent or mortgages, or to buy food, put gas in a car, to buy a cup of coffee. To me, as I'm watching these things roll out, if we have an ability to take some of that energy of ours and put it somewhere else where we can trade it back and forth, peer to peer, where we can inspire people. For example, we've talked about the fact of building a, however you want to call it, almost like a crowdfunding. It's a massive platform of, you can get 1,000 people, and if once a month you say, okay, this is this project that needs to be done. This is this guy has got this invention. He's got this idea that we've got this brilliant thing coming together. They need $1,000. And every one of the people puts in $1. Guess what? We just crowdfunded $1,000. And if the next month we increase the crowd to 2,000 people, then now you can crowdfund in 1 month $2,000. And the idea to build that exponentially, bring groups together so that we can start seeing the changes we want, whether it's alternative energy inventions, whether it's health devices, and whatever it is. Sanitation does not matter. Communities. You start to build a greater community that begins crowdfunding. Now imagine if you could do that by using a currency, a cryptocurrency, where for example, let's say you bought a coin and it's worth 10 cents this month. And maybe next month it's worth 20 cents. The month after that, it's maybe worth 40 cents. Or we've watched some of these go skyrocketing. And if you can start putting towards, and you can start doing that crowdfunding, utilizing some of these tools, utilizing even the blockchain aspect of it, where it becomes completely transparent. So everyone can see where their dollar went to, what project it is.
Not like Red Cross.
Not like Red Cross.
Exactly. You read my mind. So there's a startup called Food Coin, which if you have a wallet and there's a national emergency, I can see on the blockchain who lives in Texas, who lives in that neighborhood. I can donate directly to that person the funds to go do whatever they need. I know that they got the funds and they did purchase what our agreement was, because you don't want to enable people for bad habits. Your intent is, I want you to eat the next day, and that actually gets validated. Or like elective surgeries. You read on the internet, oh, the doctors say this is successful 70% of the time. And then you find out there's all these class action lawsuits after the fact.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a blockchain that keeps track of that anonymously, that gives you the real data that only the doctors know or cover up? I mean, there's so many iterations of how this could just be amazing.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I'm going to just do this really, really quickly. I went in just before this afternoon, and I went to Google, typed in blockchain, and then hit news. And I want to show you just a little bit here. So this is, let's throw that down there. All of these tabs that you see open across the top of my page, these are all news stories that have come out within the last 24 to 36 hours. Okay, and you've got things, for example, China's IT ministry backs a new blockchain research lab. Now they're going hard on this. Like we said about China, they're really going hard on this. Okay, blockchain technology plays a critical role in the U.S. and international open government initiatives. Interesting stuff. Open data and emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence and distributed ledgers such as blockchain, hold a vast potential to transform public services held back by bureaucracy and outdated IT systems.
Voting.
It's there. It's there. What blockchain technology means for venture capital, and this was the opening paragraph on this, is priceless. Blockchain is a hot topic at the moment. The revolutionary new technology which underpins Bitcoin has the potential to disrupt many of the industries that currently take their seeming invincibility for granted. Disruption is coming from healthcare to remittance to banking, real estate, and yes, even venture capitalism. Okay? And of course, now the U.S. Senate, they just passed the stupid defense budget, a whole $700 billion again. It's fucking ridiculous. And in there, they have to do a whole special thing about blockchain, a report on cyber applications of blockchain technology. Blockchain technology can deliver elections everyone can trust. Area to leverage is blockchain tech for safer flights. This is all about using it for pilots, being able to communicate. Blockchain technology gains more traction for non-currency transactions. This was an interesting one. They've got some nice little pieces in here, but what it can be used for. Okay? You go through, and it never stops. This is just the news articles, and there's not a single repeat. All the ones that I've put up here are each individual news articles. The Malta unveils blockchain advisory board as the national strategy advances. Carbon blockchain technology. How blockchain could transform the way international aid is distributed. Kind of like what you were just talking about. It goes on, golden blockchain, the unlikely power couple. I haven't had a chance to read this one. This one's going to be interesting.
No more Fort Knox. Where's all the freaking gold?
Okay. These articles have all come out within the last 24 to 36 hours. And this is all dealing with blockchain technology. Above, way, way, way above, and doing opinion polls, public opinion polls, using blockchain technology. So you know you're not getting, you know, the lovely skewed CNN opinion poll where, you know, half the things disappear. This is a major change. And it's a change in a way that really can be used to unfuck a lot of shit.
Transparency is the root of it all.
It is.
All right. So one of the last points I had on my little notes was about the energy. Bitcoin mining that creates the Bitcoins and maintains the blockchain and verifies that the blockchain is still intact. It's about 500 million a year. Say it's $1 billion a year. So, you know, the people get angry about that. But look at the petrodollar. We have 1.3 million deployed troops, 10 active conflicts. The Navy, the drug trafficking, the pedophile rings, the rituals, the sacrifices. I mean, the cocaine. Is that in the trillion?
Heroin!
I mean, when you compare it, now, you know, China and Iceland, the energy running those mines, I mean, that's geothermal and you know, water. Isn't that really free? That type of power or energy is just put a value on it to have some sort of cost, but I don't really get twisted up about it because really we know energy should be free. I mean, and local, and so that's an argument that gets brought up a lot about, oh, you guys are wasting $1 billion a year spinning machines. Well, yeah, as opposed to what the current system is, I'm okay with that.
As opposed to $700 billion by the U.S. military?
Yeah. Anything else you want to?
Well, to how to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
because I just went through the whole setup process. I've actually, the whole reason this conversation came up is because I was sick of looking at it. I've been watching Bitcoin for years. I had a conversation with Jeff when he came to visit us in Australia, and I was like, ha ha ha, Bitcoin fell to like 800. I bet that hurt because it was like at what, I don't know, 1,000 or 1,100 at that point. And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to sit on it and whatever, because now today Bitcoin's at like $4,000 for one Bitcoin. So, you know, I've just been watching it for so long, and now I'm watching all of these other startup cryptocurrencies do the same damn thing. Anyway, to go and to get into it, it's not as easy as you think. It's not like you can go to an app and buy cryptocurrency straight from an app and then have it all be just on your tablet or whatever, your phone. It's tricky. You have to know what you're doing now. And I think, touching on what Jeff was saying earlier about being in the maverick stage of things, that kind of works to your advantage at this point. But yeah, just the nuts and bolts. Okay, so I had to put fiat currency into an exchange, wait for the SWIFT transfer, which was 24 hours. Once the SWIFT transfer was complete, I had to figure out how to change that euro or those euros into Bitcoin on the exchange. Figured that out. Once you figure out how to exchange your Bitcoin for euros on the exchange, then you have to figure out how to change your Bitcoin into any of the other currencies that you want to have. That's just the exchange part. Then there's the wallet part. Once you've got your cryptocurrency purchased and you have the one that you want and you've done all your business on your exchange, then you have to take it from there and put it into a wallet. Digital wallets is the fast, easy, quick solution. But which one do you pick? Because, man, there's a crap load that are just fraud. Jeff has taken an extreme step further for, like the tinfoil hat wearers here and made it into a paper wallet. However,
can I post your instructions? The ones that you sent me like months ago?
Yeah, I've totally updated it and made it much more simpler because even my friends are like, I can't even follow this. So I added a lot of steps, but I will send you the new way.
Because the first one he sent me, I was like, you read this and you're like, holy crap, really? Now I know Jeff is extreme in security, but it was like extreme. It was the tinfoil hat wearing, how to hang on to your cryptocurrency. But yeah, we'll get the simplified version.
The basic steps were I had to go download a wallet and open the wallet so it was for use. Then, so you register it. Then you had to go to the exchange, register an account on the exchange. Then I had to go and I had to put certain amount of information in to get that account on the exchange to a certain level where I could trade. Then I had to get money. So it's not an easy process. There's a lot of steps involved.
Like Jeff's pointed out, though, there are a lot of very, very good videos, just short ones, like 3 and 5 minute videos that'll explain, like if you're on Kraken and you're using that as your exchange platform, that here's a video on Kraken and how to use it, and it's very nice, clean, concise. So there is a lot of information available and a lot of just nice, concise pieces where you can actually go in and say, okay, well, I've done this piece. What's next? Well, the next one is I've got to do this. Okay, well, let's go look and see what do we have here.
Well, once you've figured out the things you need, and once you have established that you've gone to the places where you're not going to get scammed, the steps you need to take are fairly simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. If you're in the position that you want to transfer your 401k or whatever it is into some cryptos, only use the main crypto websites, wallets, Danny will post my how-to. I have had friends lose $1 million. By doing dumb things. My recommendation is you start with $100 and you move through the whole process back and forth. And if you lose $100, you lose $100. It's how you learn. And hopefully in 6 months, when all of these little companies start rolling out their product that we've invested in because their intent is correct, it will be on your phone, going from PayPal onto an exchange, just easy breezy. But right now, it's hard.
Well, on the other side of it, though, let's just put this out there. Your $100 that you said to invest and then to play with, and if you lose it, who cares? It's $100. That same $100, if you put it in the right place. Let's say, because I've been looking at the markets now, there's one out there that you had mentioned earlier called Dogecoin. And the market value on that one is 4 spots away from the zero. That means 4 decimal places away from zero.
1,000.
If you put your $100 into Dogecoin, and for some strange reason, it even goes and moves that decimal place right next to the zero, then you're looking at, you've made a crap load of money for your $100. And the trends on those cryptocurrencies all seem to be going in that direction.
Yes. As Cliff High says, this is a real market right now. Yes, there's a bit of big, what we call them whales, coming in and trying to move stuff around. But the opportunities are stunning in some of these little guys, that the companies have a product in the end that everybody's going to want. Like there's a Facebook replacement called Kin or Kick. Some of the speculation is that it's just going to go so through the roof in 2 years. It'll take 2 years. Some of these are long term, you know, but there's always the frauds or the things that go nowhere. So it is a bit of homework, and that's why I follow Cliff High's Bitcoin reports that he puts out. I've been a subscriber of his Webbot reports since 2009, and I do understand that he's talking about the future that may be talked about versus actually manifesting. So people say he's never right, but when you look at what we're talking about on Zero Hedge or Before News or whatever, we are talking about it. It just didn't manifest. We didn't create it, but it is a Webbot hit. So I do understand that part. As opposed to his crypto reports, there's 6 of them, 7 of them now. They have been 99% correct. Millionaires have been made. Just follow Jason at 4. I mean, just by following as he looks at these white papers and the code of these companies, he's like, man, this is a long-term hold. Load the boat however possible you can, and it ends up. I mean, I'm retired. I don't ever have to work again. So.
Okay, so I want you to do me a favor, just really, really briefly, because there's a lot of people who don't understand Cliff High's Webbot. Can you just give just a brief analysis of? I know there's a lot of people who think that it's all woo-woo, which it's not. It's you're talking about computer applications. If you could just give us just give us a brief look at that and how he's attained that information.
Okay, so Cliff wrote some computer spiders on the perception that everybody psychically leaks their future when they type emails, tweets, Facebook posts. So those little Webbot spiders take a look at what you've written, and it kind of analyzes it. Well, this person never says Bazanga. Why did they use Bazanga? And then he kind of sees that a whole bunch of people use that word. So he has this little way of picking up those psychic leaks, and then he, as a human being, interprets that as, okay, Bazanga relative to California means gold rush, for instance. He kind of interprets that. So it's all predicated on what we type on the web and how we use our language. And that's how he's created his web bots. And sometimes they're just stellar hits, and sometimes they're just, we've talked about it. So he's decided that the cryptos benefit the little guys with the right intent, that he's decided to do crypto reports for this, a few months ago going forward, because it helps the little guys reinvent the reality. And so I think at this point, whatever investments he's made, or this is an assumption, but I don't think he has to work either, but he wants to add value to us that are paying attention. And he creates these crypto reports because he can read the code and kind of say, hey, food coin, that's amazing because they have the right intent, the right code, the right team. And in the web bots, it shows it lasts 10 years. Whereas Ripple coin, oh, it's going to last another 3 months, and then all the central banks are going to rip their investment out of it, and it's going to go to zero. It's going to be a fail. So that's kind of what Cliff High's web bots has been about, and those crypto reports are insights that you can't find anywhere else.
And you said they've been really accurate thus far, like really, really accurate.
Amazing. Yes.
There you go. Intention speaks a lot. I mean, that's one of the things. We all have these intentions to change the world. So, you know, we have an ability to do so. Perhaps.
Yep. And like you brought up yesterday, you know, the American way maybe is to buy one. Well, 4,000 a piece, that's not really doable at this point. And when it gets to 10,000, oh my God, we're gonna have to get used to millibits and nano bits and fractions, and that's going to be a whole social programming layer. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but
yeah, 0.015 of a Bitcoin is about $60 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how do you relate that to $1? Well,
how do you relate that to a cup of coffee?
Yeah. But if you're listening to Joseph P. Farrell and some of these other guys, relating it back to the dollar just isn't going to last that much longer.
Yeah.
We've got other strong up-and-comers like what I've seen, Bytecoin, right? If I'm correct, there is 8 bits in a byte. Isn't that supposed to be the ultimate ratio for Bytecoin?
Well, I think Bitsquare is like, Litecoin is 4 times as fast transaction-wise, so it should be 1/4 of the cost. So if Bitcoin's at 4,000, Litecoin should be 1,000, not $40 right now.
Yeah.
So that's an assumption, but when you bought Ethereum and Litecoin in March at $3, and not only have you doubled, tripled, quadrupled, whatever your money, you start to see as we hit the early adopter phase and the big ETFs and CalPERS and some of the big pension funds start buying into this because they know the fiat money is going to go. You're doing
to recoup some of their losses.
Yeah. That wealth effect, what did Cliff say? He's just like, consider that possibility that you're doing no harm while converting your dollars into the support of the creation of these little companies. It's not usury. It's not insider knowledge, speculation, fraud. It's not creation out of thin air based on the rights to print debt. This is not debt.
Yeah.
There's no theft unless you get stolen from because you do something dumb. And there's no use of force in this. This is a complete, voluntary movement. I don't think it's really going to be voluntary much longer because they're winding up something for our financial system. It just seems like.
Yeah.
Well, from my point of view, it seems like right now they're really cracking down on the people that have money. There's no middle class anymore. And the ability to even, do what my parents did or what the grandparents did, the classical story. I came to this country with $10 in my pocket. Look at me today. That doesn't exist anymore. And they really don't want that to exist anymore.
Right. Yeah, there's so many parts and pieces to that, but it seems like as I look at this, they're just going to spend the dollar into oblivion, and I think that's why Trump seems like he's done an about-face. I think he's actually just going to use the dollar to its very last cent and just, my personal perception, just buy everything that we possibly can until it's just gone.
Like that, like getting a credit card, racking it up, and then declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Pretty much. Well, this is the thing. You mentioned at the very beginning, you talked about things like, for example, there's been so many out there, OPPT, all your value back, and then the Swiss Indo, and there has been the Iraqi dinar, the global currency revaluation, and Nasara, etc. How many of the people in this room have dinar? Right? And you bought it in the hopes that you could make a lot of money off of it, you bought it, you gifted it, however, and the hope was, and I've talked about this before, unlike the vast majority of get rich quick type schemes, most of the people that I know who own dinar or dong or Zimbabwe dollars, etc., bought it because they have an idea. They have a plan. They have the best of intentions. And I have sat around, I was involved in the GCR staff, the conversations I had with people, the best of intentions. Like they bought like their $500 worth of dinar, and they're hoping that it's going to come out 40-1, and that they're going to make, they're going to make this much money, and then they're going to do huge projects with building communities, cleaning up the oceans, reforestation of certain areas. Best of intentions. Okay? I see this as nothing different. If anything, I see this as the
people saying, fuck it, we're making it happen anyway.
The work in progress. It's working. It is actually doing things now. We've watched different ones of these different cryptocurrencies go up and up and up and up. And like you say, if you had bought Ethereum, if you'd put $100 into Ethereum when it was $1, how much is Ethereum worth now? 350?
Well, in and around there.
Right? If you had bought one of these cryptocurrencies when they were worth pennies,
yeah,
you would now
started out at 25 cents in 2010 when they released it for public. Is that not correct, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
And if you had purchased $100 in Bitcoin in 2010, you're looking at over $7 million at the opening of 2017.
Yeah.
And since 2017, it opened at 1,200. Bitcoin has gone to 4,000.
Yeah.
Just in 2017.
Right.
This, exactly, Chris. This is what I'm saying. This is not now hoping for Nasara is going to come around, waiting for Swiss Indo or OPPT or any, name one, to hand you this money over, give you your value back. This is actually in motion now. We're watching it in motion. That's why I felt it was really important, because the intent here, that unfucker intent, is massive.
Oh, well, even just to spread the awareness makes the unfucker intent true.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I'm talking about our group. I'm talking about this group of unfuckers here who have the best of intentions, across the board.
The beautiful thing is it's not really even a dirty, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No.
but it's not even like it's a secret. Just tell your friends. And
Yeah, just tell your friends. No.
The more people that use it, the better. Fuck it. Everybody buy in. Go ahead. Because if everybody buys in, you drop the price of those coins up, then we all make money. So fuck it.
Yep. It's the intent. And to me, this is why I wanted to bring this information out and try and explain things clearly. Have Jeff come in and explain some of the history of some of this stuff, the way some of this works, because I want the unfuckers to have, okay, another option. If you decide you want to play this game, if you decide you want to work this way, it is a viable option. And it's not a pipe dream in the fact that we're watching it work right now. And we're seeing some amazing things. Like I said, the blockchain technology is so incredibly intriguing to me. There's stuff coming. There's stuff coming, and I can see how this could all play a part. Will it? What it will look like? I have no idea.
No, it's changing so fast. And again, if you're investing early, you're doing no harm by that side effect of gaining wealth as the other people pile in.
Yeah, how many people piss away $100 a month just in whatever? When you go to you go buy a donut and a coffee every morning, and at the end of the month, you're looking at that shit starts to add up anyway. So
very, very true.
And
So do you have anything else you want to add to this? Because we're getting close, and I do want to open the floor to questions.
Nope, we hit all my list.
Awesome. Okay, guys. So, does anyone have any questions or want to add anything to the conversation at this point? No, we've lost Ben.
Muted, or?
Everyone's muted. We're going to see. I don't know if anyone's going to put up their hands. Oh, there's Jane. Jane, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, I do. So, if something like this was to become our accepted routine way of exchange, does that mean, in your opinion, do you think the IRS and those fuckers would go away?
That is the goal. They're not going to go away without a fight.
Yeah.
I am eventually going to have to pay some capital gains because it's not worth fighting the system, in my opinion, over a stupid tax bill. But I think if Cliff is right and the webbots are right, it'll happen over the next year or two that the government just implodes. So I'm adding fuel to that reality instead of saying, no, I'm just a slave for it. I'm adding I'm speaking my reality that the IRS will go away. How's that?
That's good news. Thank you.
I mean, that's the downward spiral it's in right now. And there's been so many pieces coming out, like more and more videos of whistleblowers coming out and talking about
the IRS building anyway.
Did it? We could only wish the hurricane. Send a hurricane to blow the roof off the IRS building. Any one of them.
Wait. What did Nick just say, Danny?
Exactly that.
Exactly that. Blow the roof off of the IRS building.
It was
Send
a bad
hurricane.
joke.
Absolutely.
Probably shouldn't.
Please, bring it.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything they want to add or questions? Mia, what was this? Is Jeff aware of the anonymous crypto card because it's not truly anonymous without it? His card had a name on it.
Well, this is BitPay. It converts the crypto into cash. So I can use it on the Visa system. I have not yet done that. Because it's
your card is so shiny and new.
because it's a short-term capital gain if I do. But I just wanted the card to show people you can spend Bitcoin anywhere.
I just want to say that as a Canadian, we pay more in GST and PST than you do in capital gains. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, only 9 people reported to the IRS last year that they had capital gain.
They
I
paid.
think it's under such a microscope this year. I just don't want to play that game until January 2nd, and then I might load the boat and buy flowers for my mom or something just to see how it works.
Load the boat and buy flowers for your mom, just to see what they're going to snag you with capital. It's you spent 45. No, it's her hand's still up. I'm not host, so I can't take her hand down. What was the real estate cryptocurrency or the blockchain one that you were talking about, Jeff? What was the name of that again?
That was either on CoinDesk. I'd have to find it. It was yesterday on one of the crypto news.
Okay. If you could find it and then just toss me the link, I'll add it in.
Okay.
I use, and I just as a daily thing now, because I have been, there's a coin market cap. It does the top 100 cryptocurrencies, and I use that to check, and just, they have good charts. You can set them to go to a year. You can go and look into the individual currencies by clicking on them. They'll tell you what companies they represent or whatever that's the one I use.
Yeah, Jane's hand is up again.
Jane, did you have your hand up a second time? I thought you still had your hand up.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did. I wanted to ask one more question.
Yes, go on. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm moving my microphone. You showed different websites, how there's all these different mimics out there for, like, what was the one called? I want to say GMO.
OMG.
Yeah. So, like, this is all, I mean, I know I've heard a lot about cryptocurrencies and stuff over the years, but I never really paid any attention. But I think that I'm sure there's a lot of us out there in the same boat. But what I was going to say is, as we go along, do you think that you guys will be able to put out more, like, links we can follow to do more investigation and get started? Because, like I said, you know, if there's mimic sites out there, I might easily, you know, how will we know?
Well, I can do, because I went through the exact same thing, and that kind man at the very top of the screen there basically made an idiot's guide for the idiot that was trying to start it. So I can give you the places that I went to do the things that I did, and it looks like I did everything right so far.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay, so, I mean, I acknowledge my data sources. Cliff High is going to do a brand new crypto report in a week. Yes, it's $99. But if you spend $99 and that quadruples in 3 days, I think that's valuable by following his advice, because he does it in a way that if we shared that data, we could be responsible for financial advice.
Yep.
And that's not good. So when you pay for products that from other people in a way that is a value exchange from a data source you trust and has a track record, that's what I do.
The other thing is this. As with everything, research. Research is everything. So in other words, you don't just go on and go, put a thing on Facebook saying, hey, someone recommend a currency exchange, go do your research. There are some very, very big ones. Like really, like Kraken was one of the ones you were talking about, Jeff. Kraken is huge. It's major. Everyone knows Kraken.
One of the safer.
It's one of the safer ones. So therefore, if you're going with one of the big exchanges, the chances are, by the nature of their size and the amount of currency they're moving around, you're going to be safe. Don't go to Tom, Dick, and Harry's Bitcoin Exchange Cafe because you're going to get burned. Go to the ones that are the big ones. Stick with the big ones. If you're going to choose a crypto wallet, a digital wallet, go with one of the big ones.
That's one of the things that we learned today too, that quite often the wallets, like you want to store it in, have to be specific to the currency. Like if I want to buy Litecoin, I can put Litecoin in that wallet, but I can't put Ethereum currencies in that wallet. So I have to have a wallet for the Ethereum stuff too.
Right, but you can get an Ethereum wallet from Ethereum. And if you're in Ethereum buying an Ethereum wallet, then you know you've got a legitimate piece. So this is the thing. This is not about just grabbing and following what we've watched people get burned. Dawn was talking about the fact that she lost a pile of money in one of these scams. Do your research. Yes, so that's it, Mia, right there. Kraken is one of them. Right? OneCoin is the one that Dawn got burned on. Right? Do your research. It's not a big thing. Comes back to taking personal responsibility, right? Do your research on it and make sure you're going with a legitimate provider. And that's not actually that difficult.
The other scams are Bitcoin multipliers, investment.
Watch those spin through, and I've been like, whoa, no, this calls pyramid scam all over it. No, back away, quick.
It's very, very simple. In the United States, we have Coinbase. You can simply buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, send it directly to your own personal wallet, and then hopefully a paper wallet after that, and hold it, and just wait. Get it off the internet until you're ready to do something with it.
Yeah.
It can be very simple.
Yep.
Yeah, once I had it figured out, it was, thinking back, going through the steps, it was very, very simple. Looking at it from the other side, trying to begin and thinking about all the things that I had to try, and it was intimidating. But once, it's not that tough.
But that's also the reason why you start with a small amount. You can even start with $20.
Yep.
Just as a test. Take $20, invest it into Bitcoin, and then it's your learning curve, right? You can even call it your play money while you figure out, now I got a wallet. Okay, well, I'm going to buy $5 worth of Litecoin, and I'm going to buy, $5 worth of this one and this one, and put it in, and then take it off and practice with it. And if you make a mistake and you lose $20, okay, you lost $20. There's no minimum amount.
Right. There's beautiful, crafty humans on YouTube that have 3 to 5 minute videos on every step. And, it's...
which was the one that you said with some of the coding was done by Cliff High? My something wallet.
My EthereumWallet.com.
EthereumWallet.com. Can you type it in, Jeff? Because that was another one that you said, like, here's a legitimate one. And Jeff said, well, this is for Ethereum, obviously. There are lots of videos on my Ethereum wallet to tell you how to do it.
Yeah. So my Ether wallet, or Moo as everybody calls it, it's an online wallet, but the code behind it is so beautiful and elegant. Cliff approved it and uses it. And, the Bitcoin, I think they call it blockchain.info wallet, which is the biggest wallet on the planet, has some really sketchy backers. So that's why I don't use it. I'm not sure if that'll be part of a false flag eventually. So it's just part of your learning curve. There's a lot to this. You can talk for hours, but like you said, if you start with $20 and you go through a process and you do a dummy move, well, that's just part of the cost of learning. And people do all the time.
But the return, if you figure it out and it happens to, turn into something, I mean, that's not only money in your pocket, but it's kind of a decent sense of accomplishment. You can fucking do something still.
Yep. OMG coin adds so much value to universe. Cliff High did a video on YouTube. He thinks, right now it's at $10, he thinks it will go up 30,000%.
That's insane. I can't even imagine that. That surpasses Bitcoin.
But look at the intent we read to you right at the beginning. The intent of that coin is beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So we talk about manifesting. I don't mind putting some intent behind some of this. I will give you a proper link, Mercy. I will give you the proper link for OMG.
Now,
that's not what it is. I will give you the proper link. Hold on.
Now, some payment methods, just while they're going through this, when I did it from here in Europe, I had to use a SWIFT transfer to get money to Kraken to start trading. Coinbase, if I'm not mistaken, is also open for PayPal payments. Correct, Jeff? Mm-hmm. So if you're in the US and you have a PayPal account, that makes it even simpler because the SWIFT thing took 24 hours where PayPal, it should be fairly fast if it's under a certain amount.
Yeah, your first purchase does take days because it's got to go through all the checks and balances. But after that, it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
When I took the money from the euros in Kraken and did the exchange into Bitcoin, it literally took 30 seconds to exchange.
Yeah.
There we go. So guys, any other questions? No? Okay, awesome. Okay. Well, guys, we're going to call it a night here.
Thank you very much,
And I guarantee that we're going to do another one of these. We'll maybe give it a little bit of time because there's going to be more stuff that's going to come up. So we'll meet again and rediscuss this all over again.
Hey, David.
Yes, Jane.
Sorry, before you go away. So, like, if I'm looking at this, would I buy a wallet before buying any cryptocurrency, or?
I downloaded the wallet first, and I made sure that my wallet was set up. Then I went to Kraken, which is the exchange where you have to put your money and buy the currency, and I set up an account there after. It didn't really have to happen that way. That's how I did it, though.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Also, so this Sunday, we're going to have another special report. I am going to be teaming up with the awesome Ann Callahan, our very own Ann, and we're going to be doing a really good discussion on Sunday talking about taking responsibility for our health as the flu season is coming. We're going to talk about our immune system, how to boost our immune system, how to strengthen ourselves, and the steps that we can take. You know, bypassing all these lovely flu vaccines that they're just desperate to give everyone. So tune in Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel, and I'll have some more information about that. I'll have it together by weekend anyways. Okay, guys? And that's it for us for tonight. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.